Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. I am super excited, y'all. So, in this video, I want to show you what I look for when I am entering a trade, or before I enter a trade. This is my setup. This is what I watch for. This is what I look for, right? So, let me go ahead and give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those avenues. So, this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, y'all, let's get started. So, we are looking at Tesla, and as you can see, this is the 5 minute chart, and Tesla seems to be going up, moving up. That means it's making higher highs and higher lows, right? So, one, I try to identify the trend. Are we moving up? Are we going down? Are we moving sideways? So, this would be a sideways area here. Again, this is the 5 minute chart. This is a sideways movement, or what I like to say, a gathering spot, right? Because price is just gathering in this area, and it really hadn't made a decision on if it's going to go up or down, right? So this would be a down move, right? So because we are here, we're at the upside here, we broke out, moved up, and we're coming back to the downside. So this will be a downside move, this will be a sideways move, and this will be an upside move. So I need to identify which direction is my stock moving at this time. I'm going to go to GJ, which is a currency pair for Forex, because it made a nice move to the downside. So I wanted to point that out. This is a downside move. It is going down. We are making lower lows. And if we were to draw a trend line, we can clearly see that we are going down. So I need to identify my trend. I need to know which direction the stock is moving before I enter the trade, because I don't want to trade to the upside if it's going down, and I don't want to trade to the downside if it's going up. So you need to always be mindful of where your trend, what is your trend as of now. So looking at Tesla, Tesla was going sideways, which creating a gathering spot is what I like to say, right? So, and it looks as if it is making higher highs and higher lows. That means that the candles are moving to the upside. That means this candle is higher than this candle. This candle is higher than this candle. It's going up each time. I always say, like climbing stairs, right? So I have identified that Tesla is moving to the upside. Now, it needs to stay above this line that I just created. And I like to join wicks together, or just make sure that I can do something to show me that when it goes against this area. So if you don't have a wick, you try to connect the candles together so that, it's touching this line, it's on this line. So when it breaks below this line, that means it has broken the trend. The trend is reversed. The trend has changed, and not just necessarily broke, one candle below. It needs to give me confirmation that it is below that, right? So as of now, I've identified that my trend is to the upside with Tesla at this point, right? So if I would have tried to enter the trade here because it broke out of this area, but say for instance I didn't get in at that time, I would wait. I would not enter the trade at this high, because as of now the high is only 177.15. I don't want to buy to the upside at the top of the move. I want to enter the move at the bottom of the move, and I want to ride the wave to the upside so that I can make money on the way up, right? So if I would have entered Tesla based on this 5 minute chart, confirmation for me that it's broken out of the gathering spot, and I'm going to mark the gathering spot just so that we can see it, right? So this is where price has been, or price was, let's say that, in this area here. And I'm going to make it, let's say, a green area. So something, well, we can't see that. Let's go back to the blue, right? So I'm going to try to make it a little bit visible so that we can see it a little bit, right? So this is where our price is. And soon as it breaks out of this area, it has broken out of the gathering spot. The price is about to move up or about to move down, because it can move to the downside. In this case, it moved to the upside, right? So my MACD, which is here, the light blue and the blue line here, had already crossed to give me a signal, but I would have waited a little bit, because we're still gathering, right? We're still in that gathering spot, and those lines are a little bit close together. I like to see them a little bit fanned out, meaning separating instead of close together, right? So right here is when I see this 5 and this 50 cross, that is a signal for me that it's okay to enter this trade to the upside. And as you can see, we consolidated. We stayed at this 176.17 range, which we were going to have trouble here. And we'll talk about moving averages in the ATR trail and stop in another video. I'm just wanting to show you what I look for when I enter my trades, right? So this 5 and 50 crossing, my MACD would have been my second confirmation, or actually the first confirmation, but I would have waited on a second, and the 5 and the 50 would have been my second confirmation. As to it's breaking out of the gathering spot, we have made 3 higher highs. We went from 1, 2, 3 higher highs. So I have another confirmation that, we're probably getting ready to break out of this gathering spot. 3 higher highs, MACD has crossed, and my 5 and 50 cross. That is my signal to enter my trade. So if I would have bought a call, meaning I believe that Tesla is about to go to the upside, I would have entered a call here based on what I'm seeing on my charts. And I would not have entered until I had the confirmation to go ahead and enter the trade. Let me say that. And as you can see here, we are under the 5 EMA. This candle, we are above the 5 EMA. This candle is another confirmation as to, I am above the 5 EMA, so I'm making higher highs. That's another confirmation. So one confirmation is the 5 and 50 crossing. Second confirmation is the higher highs, making higher highs. Closing above what I had marked as the gathering spot is another confirmation, and the 5 and 50 crossing is another confirmation. So I look for other signs or signals as confirmation as to why I am entering this trade. Above the 5 EMA and 5 and 50 crossing, MACD crossing is a good confirmation. I have 2 or 3 things, 3 or 4 things that's actually telling me it's okay to enter this trade to the upside, right? So I would have entered the call to the upside. I am above the 5 EMA. I came here. I knew that I would have trouble at this 176.62 because it was something that I had previously marked as my trouble place, right? So if Tesla would have came down and came under the 5 EMA, then my trade would have went against me. Then I need to be careful, right? I need to watch it. I need to watch it carefully, because if it comes down under my trend line, I definitely need to be out of the trade. But as of now, we are above the 5 EMA, and we are making higher highs. So I would be okay, or I would say safe, to still be in the upside of my trade because, or my call position, because I had confirmation as to why I entered it, and I am looking to make sure that it's still going again, with my why. Once it goes against your why, that's your reason for getting out of the trade. So we drew the trend line here to help us identify which direction the stock is moving. It is above the 5 EMA. My MACD It's still a little bit separated, but I like to see it a little bit more fanned. But this would be a concern for me because those lines, as you can see here, they were separated a little bit. Now they are to get kind of closer together. So is Tesla running out of steam? That's something that I need to be mindful of. So I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart just to see where we are and why we're not moving, continuing to the upside. Why? Could be a reason of, here's a 200 EMA right here at the 177.27 area, 177 area. I need to watch this because we could get rejected and come all the way back down, or we can continue to the upside. But that's my reason as to what's causing this, what's hindering this from moving higher, what's causing me to have a delay as to why it's not continuing up. And we have to always be mindful of that, and that's why it's easier for me to go to a higher time frame to see, that's what's stopping this stock. Or mostly I identify that before I enter the trade. So I would have marked this area here to let me know that, I'm going to have trouble in this area. So And I'm going to do another video on trouble places, or in what I call support and resistance, and how to identify those, right? So yeah, this is how I would enter Tesla as of now. I would identify the trend, make sure that I am buying out of my gathering spot. I don't want to buy it in this area, because if you're in a call and if you're in a same day expiration, you're going to lose money in this area, and we're in it to make money, right? So I would make sure that I have confirmation as to why I'm entering the trade. My MACD did cross, but again, we are in a gathering spot. So would we have been wrong to enter the trade here? Not really, but again, I always like to wait on other confirmations. In my opinion, I did not have another confirmation as to why I would enter the trade. So I would have waited on my confirmation, which is here, and my higher highs. That's another confirmation. So I have other reasons as to why it's okay to enter the trade, and that's normally how I make majority of my decisions, right? I identify the trend, make sure that I am buying out of a gathering spot, or I'm making higher highs, or this can be lower lows in either direction, because you can make money in either direction, right? So make sure you're able to identify that. Identify the trend. Make sure you're buying out of a gathering spot, or consolidation area, as most people would say. And make sure you have confirmation. That's the most important thing, because sometimes we can see one and it really not confirm as to why we're doing what we're doing. So I always say trade carefully and make sure that you have confirmation. I'm going to go back to GJ, because this was a really, really good trade today. And as you can see, we created a gathering spot here. I identified my gathering spot, and I labeled that. As soon as we broke out of that, look, the 5 and the 50 cross, that would have been an entry sign for me. MACD is moving, the lines are separating, so that would have been an entry. We are under the 5 EMA, so I would be to the downside, right? I wouldn't be to the upside if we're under the 5 EMA, and that's another thing that I look for, right? If I'm in the downside of the move, I want to see my candles under the 5 EMA. If I'm to the upside of the move, I want to see my candles to the upside of the move. So these are some of the things that I look for when I am entering, my trades, to the upside or to the downside. It's breaking out of this consolidation area or the gathering spot. Am I making higher highs or higher lows? Am I able to identify the trend? And, do I have confirmation as to why I'm entering this trade? And in this case with GJ, the 5 and 50 crossing and the lower lows is definitely confirmation, y'all. So I hope these videos are very, very helpful. These are some of the things that I look for when I enter the trade. And again, I exit when it goes against my Y. So when would I have gotten out? If my MACD would have crossed here, if it broke under the trend line here, if I kept making lower lows, I'm getting out. So those are things that I look for to get out of my trade as soon as it goes against my Y. And you have to be careful with that and not be afraid to, you have profit. I always say, y'all, be grateful and not greedy, right? If you have profit, accept the profit that you have and live to trade another day. So again, y'all, I hope these videos are very, very helpful. I am super, super excited. We learn and we grow together, right? So y'all, I always like to leave you with this. Be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.